looking to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Maricar Velasco, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines, police officers arrested a total of 8 Chinese nationals for kidnapping in Parañaque City. Hundreds of pigs have died from African swine fever in Bali, authorities said Wednesday, marking the Indonesian holiday island's first recorded outbreak and after the virus claimed some 30,000 hogs in Sumatra. ASEAN and Chile held their first Development Partnership Committee meeting at the ASEAN Secretariat on the 31st of January, marking the start of a formal partnership to bolster ties between the two regions. Police officers arrested a total of 8 Chinese nationals for kidnapping in Parañaque City. The group is composed of 4 men: Li Ming, 33, Li Guohua, 39, Zhu Guanping, 41, Wang Kongkong, 33, and 4 women: Ni Yue, 25, Wu Min, 24, Liu Fangyu, 29, and Fang Zhaodi, 29. Philippine National Police Anti-Kidnapping Group spokesman Major Ronaldo Lumactod Jr. said the victim Zhang Benqin Abo, 32, from Wuhan, China, was abducted at Bayview Park Hotel Manila on Wednesday morning. Lumactod said the victim has no outstanding loans from the suspects, which was the common reason for abduction cases among Chinese nationals in the country. It was revealed that the kidnapping was not related to casino and Philippine offshore gaming operators.
Ang ginagawa kasi ngayon ng mga Chinese, yung mga suspect, kahit na hindi related sa casino or sa pogo, once ma-sighted nila kayo na mga Chinese, pupuntahan nila kayo. I-introduce nila yung babae. After that, pag na-introduce yung mga babae at hindi kayo pumayag dahil malaki ang presyo, saka kayo ngayon idadali sa van nila, that's the time na mayroon ng kidnapping. Ang front nila ngayon, itong mga babae. Pero subject for validation, yung mga babae, at yung mga lalaki naman, marami na silang record ng kidnapping cases.
The victim bears that the kidnappers used the woman as a front to get to the victim, Lumactod added. Authorities are also looking at the possibility that the kidnapping scheme of Chinese nationals has changed. Police officials suspected that the Chinese kidnappers were starting to kidnap their countrymen randomly. The victim was rescued based on the report of Rex Diongon, security guard of Soler Hotel and Casino at around 4 a.m. Wednesday. Initial investigation showed that the victim was left by the suspects aboard a black Ford Everest without plate number along Picts Avenue in Parañaque City. The victim was blindfolded and both of his hands were tied with packaging tape when found by responding police officers. After getting information from the victim's testimony, the team roamed around the area and spotted the vehicle of the suspects. The suspects were cornered along Marina Street, Dongalo, Parañaque City after a brief chase. They yielded a .45 caliber handgun with 4 live ammunition and assorted cell phones.
And ang maganda habang di Soler security personnel at ang ating operatiba ay habang nagro-room around sa area na yon, ay nakita nila na naiwan itong Chinese victim, iniwan nila doon sa isang along PITX Avenue at naka-blindfold and
rapid packing.
Naka-packing tape. Yun, na-rescue ng operatiba natin.
A follow-up investigation is ongoing to determine the motive of the abduction. Receiving money to offset buying planes and equipment did not necessarily constitute bribery, Malaysia's Prime Minister said Thursday, days after AirAsia boss Tony Fernandez stepped aside temporarily in the wake of a $4 billion Airbus craft scandal. AirAsia founder and CEO Fernandez and company executive chairman Kamarudin Meranun deny allegations of misconduct but have stepped aside after Airbus last week settled a court case in Europe which alleged the plane maker paid bribes to win contracts. Airbus agreed to pay $4 billion in fines to regulators to settle the case, but the scandal was further illuminated by Britain's Serious Fraud Office, releasing the names of several airlines allegedly involved, including AirAsia and its long-haul unit AirAsia X. AirAsia said Fernandez and Kamarudin would step aside temporarily while the issue is investigated further. Asked about the case, Malaysia Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad said he was not in a position to make any decision about it, but added usually when the government purchases anything, they always ask for an offset. A French court last week said Airbus had agreed to pay 3.6 billion euros or $4 billion in fines to Britain, France, and the United States to settle corruption inquiries sparked by suspicious sales. Court documents on the British SFO website said EADS France SAS, which was later renamed Airbus Group SAS, paid $15 million as sponsorship for a sports team owned by two unnamed AirAsia executives. AirAsia is Airbus's biggest customer, but Fernandez and Kamarudin have denied their former Formula One team was involved in any bribery scandal. No Filipino was among the 10 new cases of 2019 novel coronavirus inside a quarantine cruise ship off the Yokohama port in Japan, the Department of Foreign Affairs confirmed Thursday. As of 11 a.m. on the 6th of February 2020, another group of 10 people on board the Diamond Princess tested positive for nCoV. Aside from the first reported case yesterday, no other Filipinos on board have tested positive for the virus at this time, the DFA statement read. DFA assured that the Philippine Embassy in Tokyo is working closely with the Japanese authorities to provide all necessary assistance to the Filipinos currently being quarantined inside the MV Diamond Princess. The assistance includes the provision of food, medicine, masks, and other supplies. In addition, the embassy also established an assistance to nationals hotline phone number and email for Filipinos on the ship. The cruise ship, where more than 500 Filipino nationals are on board, is currently docked at Yokohama Harbor under a 14-day quarantine period. On Wednesday, 10 persons on board the cruise ship, including one Filipino, have initially tested positive for the virus. The repatriation team of the Department of Foreign Affairs is now in Wuhan, finalizing preparations to bring home this weekend overseas Filipinos from Hubei, China. Foreign Affairs Undersecretary for Civilian Security and Consular Concerns Brigido Dulay said they already have our DFA team inside Wuhan City for the repatriation of our OFWs. They are on the ground and they're taking the risk.
And in fact, meron na kaming tao on standby doon sa area sa may Hubei, precisely to prepare and do the groundwork for the repatriation.
Personnel of the Philippine Consulate General in Shanghai held a consultation meeting with members of the Filipino community in Wuhan, as well as the Foreign Affairs Office in Hubei Province to discuss details of the repatriation. As of Thursday, a total of 45 Filipinos are confirmed for repatriation. Dulay said they have signified their intention to join the repatriation. There are two aspects to this which we have to fix. One is the exit permits of our OFWs, which we are now working on. Of the group, there are 4 with problem on their immigration status. The OFWs would be checked for any symptoms of the 2019 novel coronavirus acute respiratory disease before leaving China. If they're found with a fever or any symptom of the nCoV, they will be taken by the Chinese authorities to their hospitals, their facilities for their treatment, and they will not be boarded. He added that the repatriation process is not solely a Filipino-dictated procedure, and it must be coordinated with the Chinese authorities. The team is working on a February 8 departure from China. He said that means an early morning February 9 arrival. However, that is not a fixed date because of the compliance to the rules of the Chinese authorities on the ground. If the Chinese government won't be able to give their papers, they will be on the next batch if there is any. And if their immigration status has no problem and is updated, they will be brought to the plane.
Most governments never give a timeline. So we just try and ask them, can you do it faster? Ganun lang. But we work with them naman. So nag-cooperate naman ang Chinese authorities with us to give us the clearances and permits.
Upon arrival in the Philippines, the OFWs will be brought to the Athletes Village in New Clark City in Capiz, Tarlac, where they will be subjected to 14-day mandatory quarantine. Hundreds of pigs have died from African swine fever in Bali, authorities said Wednesday, marking the Indonesian holiday island's first recorded outbreak, and after the virus claimed some 30,000 hogs in Sumatra. Ida Bagus Wisnuwardana, Bali's Agriculture and Food Security Agency chief, said nearly 900 pigs succumbed to swine fever since mid-December. The results are positive for African swine fever, Ida told reporters, referring to tests performed on the dead animals. The string of deaths had appeared to stop over the past week, which Nuwardana said, adding Bali should or would go ahead with a pork festival on Friday in a bid to ease concerns over the outbreak. The announcement comes after Indonesia said this week it would temporarily ban some livestock imports from China over fears about the coronavirus, which has killed almost 500 people in China where it originated. In December, Indonesian officials said tens of thousands of pigs died from African swine fever in North Sumatra province. While Indonesia is the world's most populous Muslim nation and eating pork is forbidden by the Quran, the country also boasts a small Christian majority in North Sumatra, and Bali is a Hindu island whose signature dish is roast pig. Swine fever cannot be transmitted to humans, but it is almost 100% fatal in pigs and has devastated swine herds in China and elsewhere in Asia. Unlike China, where huge herds are reared and processed in factory-like conditions and outbreaks can be contained, in Indonesia, most pigs are raised in backyards or on small farms and sold at markets where the virus can easily spread. Outbreaks of African swine fever have also been recorded in Myanmar, Laos, Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia, and East Timor.
When visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. trees that you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. Flag carrier Philippine Airlines on Thursday said it will mount special flights on February 10 to cater to stranded passengers affected by the government's temporary travel ban on China amid the 2019 novel coronavirus scare. PAL spokesperson Cielo Villaluna said the special Manila-Xiamen-Manila flights will be for chance passengers. Villaluna said 2 pilots and 5 cabin crew volunteered to man the special flights. They will undergo the 14-day quarantine upon their return to the Philippines. On February 2, the Philippine government has imposed a temporary travel ban on visitors from China and its special administrative regions, Hong Kong and Macau. The directive covers temporary ban of any person regardless of nationality except Filipino citizens and permanent resident visa holders issued by the Philippine government directly coming from China or SAR. Any person regardless of nationality except Filipino citizens and permanent resident visa holders who within 14 days immediately preceding arrival in the Philippines has been to China or its special administrative regions. A factory making face masks in northern Vietnam is stepping up its production as demand rises across the world over fears of a deadly coronavirus from China.
Và trong cái lực lượng chúng ta đang may cái hàng xuất khẩu đó thì chúng tôi dừng lại để mà may cái này để đáp ứng ngay cho thị trường, góp phần để cho cùng với chính quyền có cái khẩu trang phục vụ nhân dân. Một phần thứ hai nữa là cũng góp phần để ổn định được cái giá cả trên thị trường.
Dù công nhân phải tăng ca, tăng giờ làm, nhưng chúng tôi cũng sẽ đáp ứng nhu cầu để sản xuất đủ phục vụ cho bà con đồng bào Việt Nam trong thời kỳ dịch cúm coronavirus này.
The Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development is readying some 5,448 housing units to be given to families residing within the 7-kilometer radius danger zone near the restive Taal volcano. House Settlement Secretary Eduardo Del Rosario said Thursday the National Housing Authority is working on the repair of the houses and the installation of electricity and water connection. Municipalities of Talisay, Agoncillo, and Laurel. He said only those qualified internally displaced families can avail of the housing units.
Greetings to all viewers from Victoria, Canada.
Victoria is the capital of British Columbia and has one of the top 10 gardens in the world, known as Orchard Gardens. Victoria is also known as a city of gardens, boasting nearly 1,500 hanging baskets around the city during the summer.
We are here in front of the Parliament building, which is the seat of the Legislative Assembly of the province. There are 3,560 bulbs lighting up the building, creating this beautiful display.
For Eagle News International, I am Jeanette Guazo.
And I am Neil Duazo from the Canada Bureau.
We are one with 25.
Net25 shows live and on demand, anytime, anywhere, on any mobile device on OSN Play.
Welcome back. The Korea Corner at ASEC Resource Center was relaunched on February 5. The Deputy Secretary General of ASEAN for Community and Corporate Affairs, Michael Tin, and the Republic of Korea Ambassador to ASEAN, Lim Song-nam, officiated the ceremony jointly. DSG Tin commended the support of the Korean government for enhancing the knowledge-sharing environment for the Secretariat colleagues and providing publications and up-to-date digital equipment. In his remarks, Ambassador Lim hoped the Korean government's support will not only enhance both visitors and ASEC staff's knowledge on ASEAN-Korea relations and Korean culture, but also enhance the ARC facilities in accessing digital data. The ROK government, through the Korean mission to ASEAN, has provided continuous support since 2017. The Korea Corner comprises more than 260 publications and audiovisual materials on ASEAN-Korea relations and Korean culture. The newly refurbished Korea Corner is expected to help ASEAN Secretariat staff and visitors become more familiar with the country. The public is welcome to visit the ASEAN Secretariat Resource Center for the latest collection on ASEAN-Korea relations and Korean culture. The ARC is located on the first floor, South Tower of ASEAN Secretariat Building, Jakarta, and is open from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. ASEAN and Chile held their first Development Partnership Committee meeting at the ASEAN Secretariat on the 31st of January, marking the start of a formal partnership to bolster ties between the two regions. The ASEAN-Chile Development Partnership Committee was established after the ASEAN foreign ministers affirmed Chile's development partner status in June last year. It serves as a platform to explore practical cooperation between ASEAN and Chile and is expected to support ASEAN's community-building efforts. During the meeting, officials from both sides exchanged views on the recent developments in ASEAN and Chile. They deliberated on strengthening cooperation in key areas such as transnational crime, maritime cooperation, trade and investment, science, technology and innovation, disaster risk reduction, sustainable development, education, and provisions of scholarship programs, among others. The ACDPC's terms of reference were also adopted at the meeting. Deputy Secretary General for ASEAN Economic Community Aladin Dirillo and Ambassador of Chile to ASEAN Gustavo Ayares Osandon co-chaired the meeting, which was attended by the Committee of Permanent Representatives to ASEAN, officials from Chile Embassy in Jakarta, and representatives of the Chile Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Maricar Velasco and I'm one with 25.